Next question is curious.
Addison accused Madison of not performing her duty in bagging Mike. The fact that an outsider married him seemed to upset everyone. If Mike would have married one of them, do you think they would be so mad at Malia? Hmm. I mean, when you put it like that, I guess not. They wouldn't be so mad at her, but they still would have outcast her, and they still would have been disrespecting and talking bad about her, you know. Um, but they feel like she's the reason why she pushed him away and he had to go outside of the community to find something supposedly better,
Better.
and it makes their community look bad. That's how they're looking at it. So
Hmm.
maybe not, maybe not. They wouldn't be so mad at her because he's still kept in house where they don't have a lot of uh, eligible bachelors, high value men,
High value.
but yeah, that's a good question. I didn't think about that.
What are your thoughts, Alicia?
My thought is, I guess I have a question for that question. It's like, they said the question is, do you think they would be mad if he didn't marry somebody from, an outsider, as they speak?
Right.
Um, and my thing is, why weren't any other women available? Like, was everybody in their circle paired up with someone already, or, um,
So to answer
yeah,
that, so sometimes things are, even if people appear, sometimes people switch around, right? Because, oh, I don't want that anymore, and it may go against standards, but there might have been some switching around. I think the fact that there wasn't even a switch around, because let's be honest, Mike was top dog, like in a lot of ways. Like he was somebody that it's like, honey, if she don't want him, if she can't keep him, I will get rid of my selection, and because he was like, Mike would be an upgrade for a lot of the women in their society. So, because he's in that top dog range, right? Because they got everybody listed in categories here. So Mike would be on the top of the food chain. The fact that Malia has it, everybody like, how? How did you come up with this? You know what I'm saying? So
mm-hmm.
they had some hurt feelings there. And then for the fact that he's at the top of the food chain and he doesn't even come back to the people in the group to be like, okay, well, let me just get somebody else from Rose City. There's other eligible, beautiful Black women who are successful. No, you go and you get an outsider from California. Oh no, we're not doing that. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
But for
that's what I
Mike,
mean. I'm like,
right,
he didn't even want nobody in that circle, you
right, and
know.
I don't know if it was like he didn't want them or if it was just like he looked at Bianca Ortega as like, this is next level for my life. This is next
Oh,
level. Her father, Supreme Court judge. He has a very successful law firm. He's very, very, very well respected in the Latino community. He's for the people. They're like Justice Ortega for the people, right? This is
right.
somebody who they're like, okay, he's getting ready. He's running for governor, right? So he's got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good things happening in their family. This girl has also went on law school. She's carrying her father's torch for justice and to do great work in the community for marginalized people. I think that Sandy was like, not Sandy, but Victoria, Mike's mom was thinking, you know what? This goes outside of what we're doing here. But if you marry a woman and her father has all of this and he's going to be the governor, I mean, we've got some senators and we've got people who do this and that, but governor? And then not only was Bianca's father looking to be governor, he wanted to actually throw himself out there for a bid of presidency. So it's like, even if he didn't become the president, the fact that he ran, the fact that he had his name on the ticket, you see what I'm saying? Because our governor of the state of Washington, he put his name out there and he ran on that ticket. He didn't go very far, but Governor Jay
Right.
Inslee was on the ticket to be, he was a presidential hopeful. He was a candidate. That's something big. If you're a person who's very big into like building your status in terms of like your, building that resume and having all these accomplishments and throwing out things that you've done, everybody can't say, oh, I ran for president. Everybody can't say I've been the governor of this. But so they're looking at the situation like, that could really further take our lives, our business, our social standing to a higher degree. But what Mike didn't realize was that he was now in somebody else's world. And we're going to
Okay.
see how that plays out later on in with his marriage and why things fell apart. He's not in
Uh-huh.
Rose City anymore. He's in the Ortega world. Everything is about their legacy. Everything's about building this legacy and helping the father be his greatest self as the governor and as a, you know, Supreme Court justice, and looking at his daughter. They're going to be parts of the book that's going to come up and where Mike's like, I thought I was marrying this amazing woman, but really at the end of the day, like, she was busy always supporting her father's dream, helping him. She's on the campaign tour. She's out playing golf with people. She's at, social clubs and, country clubs and doing different things. And her life, this girl's a boss. She's driven for the Ortega name. And he fell in the shadows of all of that. So what do people do when they fall in the shadows? They lash out. My wife, and it just, I didn't feel like a man. That's something I've never understood. How can I make you feel like a man? Because you can't make me feel like a woman. That's something that I was born. That's something that I am, something I'm proud of. All of this, she didn't make me feel like a man. Mike is on some of that energy with why his marriage fell apart, because he doesn't feel like his wife made him feel like the man that he was. I can't make you feel like somebody who you were supposed to already be. you know
Mm.
I can make you feel like, a captain,
Well,
I guess. Baby, you're just so amazing, and you're just but in terms of making you feel like a man, I don't have that. I don't have those types of powers, you know what I mean? Because you can't make me feel like a woman. I am who I am. So I guess, again, a lot of these things are going to unfold as the story gets deeper, but Mike was a fish out of his own element, and that, I think, that's one of the reasons why his situation didn't last as long as it did, because he wasn't the big fish. Mike's a big deal in Rose City, you know and for
right.
somebody of his caliber to move on to something that's bigger and better, he wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that. But he didn't go back to the women in Rose. They're like, well, who else can I have? Not that necessarily he had a problem with them, but this seemed like such a great opportunity for his own growth. And he didn't realize that he was going to have to put his own growth on the back burner and help build up somebody else's family legacy. Where in Rose City, he was on the fast track for it all. Could you imagine being on the fast track of building your own legacy? And then you now being told that, no, we're switching lanes and you need to build this person's legacy. You'll get your shot in 25 to 30 years. You just keep building it. Yeah.
Right. Well, then my answer would be, yeah, they would still be mad at Malia. They'll find something to be mad about. They talked about the way she dresses and her body and being dressed a certain way in front of their men. So whether she got married to Mike or whoever Mike decided to marry, yeah, the lady still would have found some reason to dislike Malia,
Yeah.
um, even if she had married Mike. There would have been
Right.
something else that they would have
Right.
talked about. They were just
Oh, yeah.
jealous of this.
Yeah, I think it was that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I feel like, because this is Sandy's daughter, everybody's like, well, Sandy's a top dog within her generation, and things didn't work out. I know they took really great pleasure. Like, she couldn't keep him. She couldn't keep him interested. And Malia was so horrible that he didn't even want to date anybody else from Portland. I mean, she must have really ran him away from this place. Yeah. So I think that if one of them would have got him, they would have just been like, oh, we were just a better fit for him. Our morals and our values, they aligned better. Malia still would have been criticized, but not to this degree. The fact that he left, it's almost like Mike broke tradition too, right? He broke tradition. He decided to date an outsider because he felt like that person had more to offer than Malia did. So he broke tradition, right? But nobody's looking at it like, well, Mike broke tradition. So I think there's this fear now that if everybody's breaking tradition and doing things differently, then we're not going to be able to keep this cult going. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be able to keep it going. If Mike is doing his own thing and now Malia's doing his own thing, you guys are both setting a very negative standard that when the pairing and all of the grooming that the parents have done to get the kids ready for this lifestyle, when this doesn't work out, oh, just do what you want to do. You can say you tried. They're not okay with that. But Mike didn't get hit with the, you should have went home. You should have found a woman in Rose City. You should have been able to build a legacy there with somebody else who would have been equally as good as Malia or even better. You chose outsiders outside of Rose City. Even if he would have went up to Seattle or Tacoma and found somebody, it still would have been outsiders. Stay within the community here. We're building something here. Why are you going? Why are you fishing in different ponds? Basically. But Malia got blamed for it because that's how society likes to do. It's the woman's fault. It's her fault. The next question is yours, Alicia.
Okay. Let me unmute myself. Okay. Addison told Malia that she was crazy to think being single and independent, dressing cute around their men was okay. Do you think some people are intimidated by single women? Some people, maybe people that's not happy within their marriage,
Yeah.
or people that, either missed the single life or feel like they may have missed out on some stuff. Um, or like with these, they looking at Malia and she's dressing how she wants. She's doing what she wants. She's fine as hell. Um, and she could, she doesn't have any kids. And even though they're trying to talk down about her, like, oh, she still don't have any kids and she's not married, it's like, it doesn't mean that it can't happen.
You got
Um,
time. Believe that.
yeah, and they know that they man, their husbands is looking. But I think some people can be intimidated by single women if, like I said, if they're not happy or completely happy within their marriage. They could be like, well, she got this going on and she has this level of freedom and I'm stuck with this and I got these responsibilities and I have to do this and I have to hold this down and blah, blah, blah. Because that's what
Mm-hmm.
these women sound like. They sound like, they're the PTA, the everything,
Soccer moms with a van and all, honey.
Okay, I'm like, geez, no
And
wonder
mad
y'all.
about it.
And then their husbands are allowed to just rip and run the streets and they could pretend like they're single. But,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be these virtuous women. So they may look,
Virtuous.
they may look on to single women and be like, I wonder if I missed out a little bit. Or I kind of missed that lifestyle a little bit. Some women,
Mm-hmm.
not all.
Right. Not
Um,
all. Definitely
yeah.
some.
Um, yeah. It could be either way. Either way, but I believe some can be intimidated by single women.
I definitely believe that. Go ahead, Carrie. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, but only the ones that are not secure in their relationship, like Alicia
Mm-hmm.
said, And if you're not secure in your relationship, you need to evaluate yourself and why you're feeling that way and your partner, and
Mm-hmm.
why they're making you feel that way.
Right.
Are they looking? And that's what's causing your insecurity,
Talk about
So
it.
it's not about what anybody else is doing. It's not about her being single. It's about what you got at home and what's going on behind closed doors that's making you feel insecure and intimidated by a beautiful woman, whether she's dressed nicely or she's cute or whatever, independent. Why should that affect you in any way, shape, or form?
Right. Right.
So that insecurity definitely seek within your relationship and within yourself. um, but yeah, I think that's the root of it. If you're not secure in what you have going on, you are more likely to lash out at other people that you feel like look better than you, or
Mm-hmm.
your spouse might be looking at them because you don't look like that no more because you don't had a few kids and all that
Right.
stuff. So I think that's a big thing that we see in society. And you don't even have to be single to be looked at, crazy. You walk around here
Horrible.
looking cute. Who do you think you are?
Who you
You know,
think you are?
you
Think
know.
you are? Be a
You
minute.
got an outfit on. People get irritated with me because I've had so many kids and I still, I take care of my body, and people get irritated with me
And
about
you
like,
working out
how
5 days
dare
a week,
you?
and you are a vegan, and you take all your vitamins and your herbs. You have a right to look like that. Okay,
Yeah,
you
I
got a
do my
right.
best to, work out regularly and, look nice. And I'm like, I don't, nothing that I exude is arrogant, into making anybody feel any type of way. But, some people really be pressed. Like, how dare you look that
You know what it
good?
is? It's that it's like I want that, but I just don't feel like putting the time and the energy in that gym, though. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like I don't feel like sweating his hair out, and I don't feel like driving over there, and I don't feel like not having that piece of chocolate cake, and I don't feel like Well, that's a you problem, you know, it's a you problem. Let me go back to the question real quick. It says Addison told Malia that she was crazy. Yeah, with all that. Uh-huh. To think that being single and independent and dressing cute around their men was okay. Do you think some people are intimidated by single women? Yes. And let's talk about the first part. The throughout this whole interaction, Addison made me sick. She constantly, you think you're better than everybody, and you're independent and you have successful businesses and you're not the only person. Like, constantly, while she was trying to read Malia, she brought up, your freedom and your singleness, and you think baby, you think, Addison, because I didn't say nothing. You think that, okay? Malia is independent. Hi. But I think everybody should be. I think that even in a relationship, whether you're married or, you have somebody or think, everybody should be independent. Like, we can come together, but everybody should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. I don't know why that's so, I don't know why that's so disgusting for some people. When you see some women who are independent, she's independent, but she's also very single. She's very lonely. How do you know that? Did she jump on the phone and was like, Chantelly, I'm just lonely. I mean, because the thing is, loneliness, like, if you're lonely, you can do something about that. It's like if you get hungry, you're going to go fix yourself a grilled hamburger, right? I got it in the refrigerator right now. Like, I can do that with the pickles and the onions. Honey, that cheddar cheese, baby. Melt that. Put a little piece of bacon. I try not to do the swine too much. But, when I do turn up a little bit, So what I'm saying is that if you're hungry, you'll fix yourself something to eat. So if you're truly lonely, won't you fix that too? Clearly, you're not that lonely. I think that Malia is a reflection to people of what could have been if they would have chose a different lifestyle. And I think that's the scary part. It's like when you tell people, you don't have anything to go home to at night. Who are you going to cuddle up to? You don't have any children. You don't have a husband. All you have is that damn laptop. And that business with all them designer handbags and clothes and the ability to get up and jet set and meet available people and hang out. That doesn't sound so bad now. You start to talk about it like that. You're like, wait a minute. All that good old freedom. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with, having kids and a husband and loving that, but there ain't nothing wrong with enjoying your freedom either. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I think the fact that she's not even trying to be like, I'm a trailblazer. Let me start, my own blog and tell you how great my world is. She literally is somebody who's just keeping her head in her own book. She's figuring out what she got to do for herself, and people are upset about it. Like, she ain't out flexing on everybody. She ain't out like, my life is better because I don't go through the hell that you broads are going through. She ain't even rubbing it in people's face. She's just living her life comfortably, unapologetically her, peaceful, not bothering anybody, and it hurts their feelings because they don't really know what's going on in her world, but they know she's not full of drama. They know she's not in chaos. I remember there were a few of my, friends years ago, they were married in the church and things happened. And, of course, there was divorce. And you should have seen how fast people turned on people. You stop being invited to all the little barbecues at people's houses. And if you ask somebody, well, how come I haven't been invited over? It's just going to be weird now. Now that you and Carl aren't together, it's just like we got all the couples and everything. And, you're going to be the only single person there. And we don't want to rub it in. And if that person's like, I wouldn't think anything of it because, these are all people we know. Like, it's fine. No, it's just, it's best that we not. But then you find out that, 3 to 6 months later, Carl's dating somebody else and he's showing up to all the functions and y'all freely sending him an invite. And he's bringing a +1, but you couldn't do it. Sometimes when you are a single woman, all of a sudden, even people who are married start to look at you and be like, well, what if my husband gets an idea and he wants to run off into the sunset with this thing, right? Like, that goes back to what Kyrie said. People aren't secure in their own relationship. Because when you get secure in your own relationship, you're not threatened by no chick coming out here with a banging body. You're not insecure about nobody's booty looking like it just plump and sitting upright. You ain't looking at nobody's face thinking her face card is very strong. No, you're not thinking about that when you're secure. You're not thinking about that when you're secure. When you're secure, you're like, oh yeah, she's beautiful. Okay, pass me them ribs. You're not thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? Single people are not the enemy. I remember there was an episode, because I'm a crazy fan of Sex and the City. Like, that's my joint. Okay, been a fan for years, and they talked about, it was this whole episode dedicated to our single people an enemy. And I'm sorry, I looked at it and I'm like, the way people do treat single people as if they have some kind of disease, it's because it all goes down to that deep insecurity that what if the person I'm with decides, okay, can't do this because you might jump ship. My husband is so funny. We'll be watching these movies, and we watched this one movie, and this guy was like a really great worker, and this man was like, hey, I want to invite you over to my house, and my wife's going to make us this incredible meal, and you get to meet the kids and the wife. And then he was like, what are you doing for the holidays? Because this guy was like new to town and stuff like that, but he was like a really great worker. And he's like, well, I don't have any family or any girlfriend. Why don't you come over the 4th of July and be with me and my family? And my husband was like, nope. He's sitting on the couch doing that. Nope. And I was like, why? Like, they're just being nice. He's like, I ain't invite no man to my house for my wife to cook. He was like, I don't want nobody to know that you fine and you can cook. He was like, no. He was like, because I'm not going to come home and he on the couch with my kids watching Nickelodeon. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, He was like, I'll take that young man out for a meal. I will call him, text him, hey, make sure you're okay. Let's go out for a beer. Ain't nobody coming to my house. That's my husband's philosophy, so that shows you where he's at. But he was like, nope, no, he ain't coming over for no Christmas. Come inviting him over. He was like, that's a recipe for disaster. That young man gonna take his wife. I was like, really, T? He was like, he gonna come home one day and he gonna be replaced, and the locks are gonna be changed. My husband made up a whole nother world in his mind. It was pretty funny, but he was like, nope, nope. And my husband's very, very quiet. So to see him with his whole dialogue, I felt like he was in Rose City. Like, he was giving me play by play what was going to happen next. So it was pretty hilarious. But yes, I do think that some people are very intimidated by single people. I think they can be some jealousy. Like Alicia said, they see you live a life where you're out and about, you can get up and go. Your responsibilities are to yourself. You are your responsibility. You don't have to think about 45 other people before you make a move. You think about yourself, and you can get up and you can go. I don't think it's a selfish life. I think you're being, prioritizing your own peace, your own happiness. And some people look at them like, wish I could do that, but they can't. So, Next question is mine. It says, it seems that the women at the party were fine with Addison disrespecting Malia. Why is it when Malia stood up for herself, everyone had a problem with it? Julia was done with Malia, but she didn't start the fight. I think we kind of touched on that earlier. There are some people who only invite you to be the piñata. You wasn't invited to stand up and show how brave you are and show that you got a tongue that lashes. That's not the purpose for you being here. They wanted to beat up something. And to be honest, if Malia would have been her old self where, these things happen and she kind of just shrank and I'm not going to get up and leave because everybody's going to say that, she got the best of me. How many other people was going to come step to her? Like, who wanted? Who else was going to come run her some? Who else was going to come like, Malia, you really shouldn't be here because, who else was going to try her? But that was the reason why she was invited. I think she was invited to be humiliated. And she already had a lot of other things going on. Because we got to remember, folks, earlier that day, a whole fight broke out, between April and Antonio and Malia, because April accused Malia of sleeping with Antonio. And she was at the store doing a lot of stuff. I think Malia's fuse was like this. And they just didn't know what they was dealing with. But she was definitely invited to be the piñata who everybody beat up or poked at or, or flaunted their lives in her face because they wanted her to feel this deep sense of like inferiority. And I can't stand when people feel like they got something that's so grand that I need to be jealous of it. It's like, I'm happy for everybody who's doing their thug thizzle. I think it's wild that you're like, my life is so amazing. Why aren't you jealous? I didn't know you had anything that was worthy of being jealous of. It's crazy. It's like it's nonsense. But yeah, I just believe that Julia was mad at Malia because it just didn't go as planned. You know, they probably thought, well, after us, giving her the good mean girl treatment and, poking at her, Malia was going to get up and leave. And then everybody was just going to like, let's have cake. Let's celebrate. Like they wanted to celebrate them defeating her. Right. And it didn't happen that way. So Julia was being petty, but, it wasn't about Malia starting the fight. It was about them feeling like they conquered her in some kind of a battle. What are your thoughts, Liz?
Mine, they were upset, they didn't care about what Addison was doing, and they were mad that Malia stepped up for herself. One, it wasn't expected, and two, because they didn't want Malia there. They didn't care about Malia. They told Julia not to invite her, and then, like Kyrie said earlier, they probably thought that she wouldn't show up. And she did show up, and there might have been some behind the scenes. They had a conversation behind the scenes. Hey, if she does show up, if she got the audacity to show her face, this is what we're gonna do. Addison, this is what you're gonna do. We're gonna put you in place, and because you could bring it out of people. And so there might have been a plan there for Addison to do what she did. And so that's why they were upset, including Julia and her fake ass. They had a plan on embarrassing or, hurting Malia in some type of way. So that's why they were upset with her and not Addison for
right
started.
Yep, I agree. What are your thoughts, Kyrie?
Yeah, I agree. And I also think Addison, she's like the head honcho in the group, so everybody's really just falling in line, nobody voices their true opinion. They're just going to go with, what the leader is going with so they can stay in line. And I think we touched on this last week too, where, they don't want to be the next attack if they don't.
Yeah.
Next. And this isn't Addison's first rodeo. She's definitely torn down other people in Rose City, and they know exactly what that looks like. And people have been what's the word I'm looking for? Cast out of the community, when they don't fall in line, whether they're running away or whatever, being kicked out or shunned, from these events because they're not following in line with tradition, know. So I think that's why, and it's very rare that people stand up for themselves like Malia did. This isn't something they see every day. Malia, you didn't go crying and running out the door.
We didn't do that.
What? Wow. And I think I hope I don't later down the lines in Rose City, maybe we'll see more people starting to follow Malia's shoes and standing up and speaking up for her and saying, hey, don't tell anybody I called you. Hold on, let me do Corenna. Don't tell anybody I called you, but I really loved what you said to Addison. Oh my gosh, girl. Okay, you want to do that next week? Okay, teach me how to say that the way you said
it. Teach me,
baby. Me talking to Corenna. Say that again. Say it again. I'll be at home practicing my cuss words. Corenna be, she be talking so good sometimes. I'll be like, I want to say it just like that. So I feel like
Mother, you over there practicing cuss words?
You gotta practice. She didn't cuss like we cussed when we was kids. We was always cussing.
I know. We was like letting them off.
Didn't say bad words.
I've been practicing my cuss words.
That's why I couldn't understand when we were younger. I'm like, why does she want to be friends with me? Like, I just felt like I was like, you said what? And I'm like, okay, she definitely not gonna call back.
I was so inspired. Like,
I had no clue. I was telling people where to, pick it up and where to take it to. And she was like, but the look on her face was like, yeah, I'm not talking to her anymore. And then she called me and I was like, she called.
I had never heard anybody talk the way that she talked, and I was just like I was confused, I was concerned, and I was just like, but I liked it. You know, it was something different. It was something new.
She thought I was confused, and I was a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, but it was just so unique. I mean, you have such a vibrant personality that
I don't know that it was unique.
you don't see it every day. Well, for me anyway, you know, I was sheltered into a certain community myself, and so you know, you don't see women. You weren't acting crazy or anything, but you don't see
Yeah,
females, you
I just
know,
speak my
just
mind.
speaking how they feel and saying it.
Yeah.
You know, like just having an identity of your own and not following along the lines of everybody else. And I was just like, that's amazing. You know, somebody that's not like everybody else, like me. You know, like I just love that about you. So that's what really drew me to you. Like, oh
Oh,
yeah.
you're so sweet. You
But
know,
I
I
think
was.
I think Malia, she's gonna start a movement here in Rose City soon with women like, oh, if she can do it, maybe I can do it too. And it's gonna be
Yeah, you
on
definitely
the
have
low,
to.
on the hush hush, but these women are gonna start rising up and demanding for change in Rose City. So
Right.
we'll see.
I mean, and I feel like that's what we see a lot of what's happening now, and there's a lot of like psychological warfare happening here, right? Because what going back to like social media, what we see a lot of people telling people, "You got cheated on? Oh, he left you with those kids? Should have chose better, right? It's your fault. You picked him. You picked him, right? That's your trash. So essentially, if you pick trash, that means you're trash too. You picked him, right? So then you have women who are like, okay, let me go on my self-love journey. And I'm not going to be out here just picking anybody. I don't want to listen to, oh, I'm trying to get myself together. And I'm like, I want to help him find himself. And I want to shelter him, literally provide him shelter, food, and transportation, and clothing, and money while he's finding himself, right? And then you're going to die alone. What you waiting for? I mean, see what I'm saying? There's a lot of a psychological warfare going on. And baby, you got to start unplugging from all of that craziness because it is designed to make you fail. It's designed to trip you up. So don't have any standards, but just pray and ask God, please don't let this one be crazy. But keep going through the cycle of crazy and abusive men or women because women are crazy too, right? So keep going through that. But then when you're like, actually, I'm going to take myself off the market because it's not good for me to date right now because I need to heal myself. I need to really laser focus on the type of person that I want to attract. Die alone. Die alone. And it's like, yeah, die alone, die happy because at the end of the day, we're all going to die alone. I don't care if you're married with 10 kids. When you meet your maker, you standing alone. When you die, you don't, come on, guys, hold hands. No, we're not going to go through the same tunnel, same teleport together to see Jesus. You're on your own, okay? Even if we die at the same moment, our journey is different, okay? So, but I remember it was last week, Kyrie said something to me, said something, because her husband was like, well, let me leave so y'all can talk y'all's junk. And she was like, oh no, Corenna doesn't have to wait for anybody to leave. She really speaks her mind. And I was like, oh, thank you. It was just so wonderful to hear that. I was like, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be fake. Like, who you see here is who I am on the street, baby. Like, I'm never going to be somebody that I can't be all the time. I don't turn it off and turn it on. My husband be looking like, he'd be like, wow, you really, yeah, but this is who I am. And he'd be like, Corenna, you just being you. I can't expect nothing. That's just you. That's right. This is going to be me. And I'm not making no changes. I'm not doing nothing. If it's not okay for you, flip the channel, baby, because we on TV now. Okay? Do what you got to do. All that. Alicia's like, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. I'm looking, but I just don't
one, I'm
know.
speechless. I'm just gonna sit back and
You know me, because I'm gonna do it, baby.
that dialogue.
You
Mm,
know, we have to bring it all together. I think the moral of the story is know you, because people gonna try you. So if they know you, they really can't try you. You say what I'm saying? Like you said that, Alicia, you said that Addison can really bring it out of people. You know, everybody knows no, because even the people who are the most shyest and most timid, she can break you down, or she can cause you to turn into a beast too, and have to unleash your inner dragon, right?
right.
So at the end of the
They
day, be
know
you.
this. Mm-hmm.
I remember when we first hung out, me and Kyrie, when she was talking about, she was just like, wow, Karena's really, you know, we had like a waitress or a waiter. I don't even remember because it's like well over 20 years ago, well over 20 years. And they were just kind of nasty about some stuff. Like the way they was putting our food on the table, I didn't really like it. And I was like, oh, that's unnecessary. Because the way we were always, well, you better stop it. They're going to spit in your food. My food's already on the table, so there ain't nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is not get this tip, you know. But yeah, speaking up for yourself is very, very important because the more you speak up for yourself in a way that's positively impactful, the less people try you. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about people who know you, who are around you. When you start speaking up, and again, some people like, well, you're cussing or you're raising your. I'm gonna do whatever it needs to be, whether I'm talking smart to you quietly or I'm on a 10. However, I choose to distribute this a whooping. It's really you just gonna take it. So, for real.
You just gonna take it, okay?
I mean, because I'm not out here. I'm not beating people up. I'm not mistreating people emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, nothing like that. But sometimes when people have it coming, they have it coming. And in however way you have to unleash the dragon, baby, unleash it. If you got to turn a little Bruce Lee and give somebody a kick, like do what needs to be done. Or if you need to Dr. Phil somebody, but however you need to do what you need to do, do it. But just don't tell nobody you got it from me because I'm not going to be hit with a lawsuit. Corenna told me on such and such podcast to unleash my inner dragon, and I gave somebody an uppercut. I take no responsibility for what is about to happen. I'm only going to be responsible for what I do. So, any final thoughts before we end this episode? All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Rose City, the After Show. I'm going to say that wherever you are in your life, just know that you're amazing. Know that it's a flex to be who you are, whether you are single, whether you are, married with kids or not interested in none of it. Okay. I just want you to know, you are your biggest and best self. Don't look for nobody to validate you. You get in that mirror every single day and you turn up, baby. Tell yourself how grand you are. Tell yourself the world is blessed that you're there. Honey, make your own affirmations. Here, let me grab this brush. I am beautiful. I am healthy. I'm wealthy. I'm beautiful. I'm successful. Honey, I'm smart. Good things come to me. All those bad vibrations stay as far away from me as possible. I literally do that, honey. I'd be like, because yesterday and the day before I was having a good day, and little things happen, but I was like, no, because I'm speaking positive over myself and you can't do nothing with them eyeballs, people be looking at me sometimes crazy. I don't know if it's sometimes I go out to the store and I be overly dressed. Maybe that's what it is. Like 100 degrees outside and you look like you on your way to church. People don't wear this to church, but I'm just saying, I look nice. And so, but feel good about yourself. I don't care if it's with yoga pants on, a little zip up. Be your greatest self. Shine as brightly as you can. You're somebody. And I really want y'all to know that. And so thank you for tuning in. You guys been rocking with us heavy, baby. Y'all read the book. You guys are interacting with us. I'm just so glad that you guys want to show up for me and my girls, honey, and see us turn up, talk our trash, and be so honest and real with it. So you guys are the real MVPs and we appreciate you. So that wraps it up for us here. We hope you enjoyed this discussion on episode 24, Julia's Bridal Shower. Don't forget to tune in next week when we will be diving into episode 25, where it's Meet the Parents. Because at the very end of this chapter, Malia remembers that instead of her going home or kicking it with her friends and talking about the wreck that just happened, she actually has to meet her father, Frank, because this business meeting that he has set up with this super fine investor, Malia has been invited to. Remember, Frank was tied up and chained and all that stuff. And Chan told, hey, you need to make this situation happen. So now it's happening, okay? It's happening. Meet the Parents, episode 25, okay? So Malia on her way over there. So that's what we're going to be looking at next week. So if you haven't already started reading, what you doing? What are you waiting on? The first 3 chapters are free on Kindle Vella. Get you a little taste. We're sure you'll be hooked because we know we are. New episodes are being published every single week. We love hearing from our readers. So please add your thoughts, your questions, and your theories to the comments. Okay? Reach out to us on Rose City, the After Show on Facebook. All links will be provided in the description. Again, thank you for tuning in with us. We'll see you next week in Rose City. Bye.